Back in January, this brand was making $0 from Google Ads. 5 months later, they made 2.23 million Singaporean dollars in revenue. That's 1.5 million US. Looking at the last 30 days, they've made $582,000 in revenue. This is a premium watch strap brand out of Singapore. When they came to us, they were doing real organic demand across 5 markets: the US, UK, Australia, Singapore, and Hong Kong. And while they were growing organically, none of the demand they were creating was being captured on Google Ads. So our job was to basically build the Google Ad account from zero across all 5 markets without any historical data to lay on. And in this video, I'm going to show you everything that we did to grow this brand from $0 to $2.2 million in spend. And the first layer we worked on was on branded. So running ads to your own name can feel like you're paying for people who are already going to buy anyways. But there's a specific reason why we did this first. So I want to take a look at this example into the SaaS space, right? Because to be honest, this strategy is used a lot in that industry. So someone is typing your brand name on Google today. In this case, it was Salesforce, whether you're running ads or not. Still, 2 things can happen. 1, you're not paying for brand protection. So when people search your name, they see a competitor instead. And 2, and this is the example here with Salesforce, if that competitor is doing their media buying better than you are, they're ranking above your brand name. So Monday CRM is actually ranking above Salesforce here. Long story short, guys, someone is typing your brand name in Google today, whether you're running ads to it or not. If you're not showing up there or you're not showing up at all, number 1, your competitors are stealing your traffic. And if you do it right, it doesn't cost a lot to protect your brand name. Also, it doesn't take that much time to set up. Branded search and branded shopping doesn't need much data behind its work. And you can have it live quite quickly. That doesn't mean you're going to do a branded campaign and then have to wait a fucking month, for example. What you're going to do is you're going to get these branded campaigns out quickly, which is exactly what we did for this brand. And at the same time, you start building out your prospecting stack, which is the next level that I'll be covering in a bit. And just to drive this point home, this is what cheap but still effective can look in this case. So in this account, branded traffic runs at about 37 cents a click. Cost per acquisition for branded sits around $7 or $7.10, $7.09. Prospecting runs at $1.45. Prospecting cost per acquisition sits around $33.30. So if you set it up right, you should get 3 to 4 times cheaper clicks. And in this case, it was around 4.7 times cheaper per acquisition just for the brand. So when someone tells you branded campaigns are a waste of budget, they probably haven't set it up right. To protect your brand, especially if you're in a space where competitors are actively going for your brand name, it's incredibly important to protect your position in the market. And your budget on branded is capped anyway, because only so many people will be searching your brand name each month. Of course, hopefully that number grows every month as your brand grows. But once you're capturing demand, extra budget doesn't necessarily move anything. At the end of the day, it's not incremental, right? We actually pulled the brand shopping budget down repeatedly in the first couple of weeks for this brand for this exact reason. And it wasn't because it was a waste of budget or it wasn't working. It just didn't need that money. And then that allows you to put more budget towards prospecting efforts, new customers. So your branded campaigns are now set up, okay? It's protecting what you already have for customers that are searching for your name. Level 2 in our framework is where you actually go and find new customers on Google. As I mentioned, while we were making the branded campaigns go live, the other half of the work we were doing was setting up prospecting shopping infrastructure. So, we were working on the GMC and the product feeds. And I want you to remember, guys, how important your product feeds are. Look at any shopping results, okay? The title comes from your feed. The image, the description, the price, the product identifiers, that connects your reviews. You can't just sync your Shopify to Google and then expect to fucking perform. And to be honest, this is one of the biggest gaps that we see in the audits that we do every quarter for brands spending 6, 7, 8 figures and up. We actually got prospecting up in the same week as their branded campaigns. And this is what their structure looked like within the first weeks. Shopping prospecting in the US had its own campaign. Shopping prospecting for Australia, UK, and Hong Kong had one campaign together. Now, this can look very different for your brand, but this setup follows our 3-layer shopping prospecting structure. So the top layer is your prospecting. So this will be your PMAX or your standard shopping campaigns. And this is where the majority of your budget is going and where you actually scale. And always you have to have your brand terms excluded and brand exclusions applied. Then we have the middle layer, which we like to call the wall campaign. So this is the standard shopping campaign with brands excluded. It has low bids and a smaller budget. And the point of this campaign, it's not to scale. It's to actually catch the non-branded queries that your top layer didn't catch at the cheapest price possible. And then finally, you have the bottom layer, which is the branded campaigns that you had set up. You want this set as a low priority, specifically targeting brand terms only. If it's a search, you're going to have your branded keywords set up as exact or phrase match. With shopping, you're going to optimize your feed with the branded terms and set aggressive CPC or ROAS targets so that the campaign will only catch branded terms. And the reason this works is the way the algorithm works. When a query comes in, Google checks the top layer first, and if your prospecting campaigns wants it, it takes it. If it doesn't, because let's say the bid's too low or the terms excluded, the query will fall to the next layer down. So you will find you have extra non-branded traffic coming through. That's where the wall comes in. The wall will catch the non-branded traffic and ideally convert it. And because brand terms are excluded from both layers, every brand search falls all the way through to the bottom where you're paying cents for it. So this 3-layer system ensures nothing leaks, nothing gets inflated, and you always know which layer your money is going into. And that part matters a lot. Whether you're like this brand, marketing to 5 different regions, or you're just targeting one country, you need to have this level of segmentation and layering in place. And this little extra bit of sauce for you guys. If you're just starting out and you have a new account, you can start with either manual CPC or maximize conversions for your top and middle layers. Then when you're getting enough conversions for smart bidding, like target ROAS or CPA, I'm talking, minimum of 1 to 2 conversions per day, then you switch over. And that's where you'll eventually get stable, scalable performance with your prospecting setup. Now, I'm not going to go through every setting here because we've got a full video on this, breaking down this exact prospecting structure and how to find new customers on Google Ads, which I'll put the link in the description. With the foundation in place, here's what happened. In month 1, the brand had made 141,000 revenue on 13,000 in spend. Then in month 2, they managed to grow their spend to 24,000 and make them back 266,000. As you can see here, cost split, prospecting 67%, branded 32%. In month 3, with prospecting and branded added up together, they made over $433,000. Over 75% of the budget was spent on pure prospecting. Revenue tripled in 3 months and ROAS held the whole fucking way, guys. Now, I want to quickly bring you back to the report on month 2 because we are talking about separating branded and non-branded, right? Pay attention to the ROAS of branded, which was around 22.9, and the ROAS of prospecting, which was 5.17. If those two sat in the same campaign, you would see a blended growth of about 10. And for a lot of brands, this is where they can basically go extremely wrong with their setup. If you don't create this distinction at the beginning, you see a 10 plus fucking ROAS and you think, fuck yeah, we're doing well. Let's keep scaling. When in reality, it's actually your branded terms carrying the majority of the account. It's why when a lot of brands in this situation try to push more spending, they don't see that incremental growth. They don't see that, okay, Google's putting more money into my bank account. Their bank account doesn't move because they're only retargeting the pool of people that they were originally building up through their other platforms like Meta or TikTok. And I want to take this opportunity to address a concern a lot of e-com brand owners have been saying when it comes to Google. Some of them push that Google isn't incremental. And to be honest, this is the reason it's happening. Well, on top of them not understanding the platform and them being bad media buyers on Google and talking about a platform they shouldn't be talking about, this is another big reason why. They see a good blended number, they don't see the bank account moving. So they just write off the channel. But it wasn't Google's fault that you're blending branded and non-branded. And that's why for this specific brand, getting that separation early was key so that you can actually make the right budget decisions, all right? So at this point, the account is doing pretty well. And I think the biggest limitation with most Google advertisers is that they usually stop here. But I want to give you guys a quick tip. Go look at your ad account right now. Go ahead and check the change history. If you're seeing 5 or 10 changes in a month, whoever is managing your ad account isn't actually running anything new. They're not testing, they're not bringing new ideas. That account is basically on autopilot. And it is the exact reason why you're not scaling. You shouldn't be relying on Meta to scale your Google ad account. And it's the reason you're not able to push your budget beyond what that first level setup got you. The reality here is the structure that was right in month 1 could be wrong by month 4. And the reason is you've simply got more data now than you had back then. So it's telling you things you couldn't see then. So what I like to do and what we do here at Echelonn is this is actually the stage that we go deeper. We look into the data, we have discussions with the brand on what's actually happening within the business, which markets are pulling the weight, which products are carrying the margin, what's launching next quarter, what's the goals for this year. You can't get that out of the Google Ads dashboard or the Google Ads interface. And that leads me to my next part of our scaling layer, which is segmentation. So let me show you one example from one of our branded campaigns in this account. Australia, the UK, Hong Kong, and Singapore had been running as a combined campaign since launch, which was right at that time because splitting 4 smaller markets on day 1 spreads your conversion data too thin for any of them to learn. By month 4, there was enough data to look at them individually, and what we saw was Singapore was getting dragged down by the 3 markets sharing a campaign with us. So when you have a combined geo campaign, what ends up happening is it optimizes for the blended average. So the one performing well gets pulled back and weaker markets actually get carried by it. What happens is nothing gets scaled properly and the winning market doesn't get the budget it deserves. So having looked at the data, we decided to pull Singapore out into its own campaign, have a dedicated brand search and shopping set up. And within days, it was capturing over 90% impression share on search, over 91% on shopping, and 80% plus absolute top impression share. So they weren't just showing up for the ad, they were actually showing up at the number one spot 80+% of the time. So not only that, conversions from Singapore nearly doubled and the conversion value as well nearly doubled. If your account is at this stage where you've had some performance and you have some data, go check your impression share by country, especially your smaller market. If it's low somewhere, you know you've got the traction. That should be a signal to segment. And eventually, you know, we didn't only just segment at Singapore, we segmented at all the countries, Australia, UK, Hong Kong. The initial setup was just to kick the account off, okay? And now we're scaling each and individual countries separately. And we also applied this logic across the entire catalog. We split best performers from low performers. We segmented out products with high margins versus lower margins. And essentially this wasn't to only get more performance out of the account, but just to better align with the business goals of the brand. And this is a good thing to bring up what we actually see in audits that we do every single week. And that is over segmentation. So throughout this video, I've told you guys to split up your account in different ways: branded versus non-branded, country level split, product category, margins, and performance splits, right? But the brands that don't do this properly, they run the risk of doing too much segmentation. And when you split up your account too much, some campaigns will just be stuck in the learning phase. So a key rule of thumb here, whenever you're segmenting our campaigns, make sure you're confident that the new campaigns will get at least more than 2 conversions per day. Otherwise, you run the risk of Google not being able to even meet your targets. And on rare occasions, that campaign might not even spend at all. Now, I want to bring in the concept of multiplication. So we knew that the US market for this brand was doing well. What we actually did was we duplicated out the specific product line that they were using in the US using a method called product duplication. Now, the scope of product duplication is quite large and it's a fucking great method. I covered it in a separate video that you can watch. I'll put the link in the description. But long story short, several listings from the same brand can show up in the one shopping carousel if you do it right. Same brand, same product, okay? And that's not against Google's policies, right? As you can see here, same product, different color. Now, I want to take you even further because most brands still treat Google as a bottom of funnel search engine. Platform that catches people that are already looking to buy. And they assume Meta does the real work of creating that demand and growing their brand. And I think this is the biggest lie about Google right now, because Google has made a lot of changes this year to demand generation campaigns. When I say Google, I mean Google and YouTube. Anyway, so don't get me wrong. Google is already a great prospecting engine, as you saw. With shopping and search, you have a lot of power to drive new customer revenue. Revenue that you weren't going to get from other platforms. But they've improved demand gen so much that it could literally be a second Meta for your brand. We've got a full demand gen masterclass on this channel with the exact structure, the creative requirements per placement, and how to actually scale without burning your creatives that you can watch. I'll put the link in the description. But if you're running on Google Ads for your e-commerce brand and you still suspect there's more performance that can be had, or that there's more profit that can be made within your account or more scale, I'm more than happy to take a look at your ad account, run my eyes over it, audit the account free of charge. So if you want to discuss that and go over your account, go over time with us today, I'll put the link in the description. But other than that, keep scaling up those accounts and I'll catch you in the next one.